Hello, it's Engineer William Ayala, and today we're going to be going over how to construct a tieback system for a vehicle on its side so that we can place the load of the vehicle back onto the struts. As you can see, there are already struts placed for this vehicle that are in a proper angle, and it's placed properly for this scenario. What we're going to do now is we're going to start constructing our tieback system utilizing utility rope that we have readily available on our trucks. Now that we have our utility rope, we're going to go ahead and start making our Spanish Bowline for our tieback system. Okay. So we're going to find the tail end. We can place it back down near our anchor system. What I want to do is essentially I'm looking for spots in the vehicle that aren't going to move and react when I start to apply weight towards the dirty side or towards us. So obviously suspension parts are going to be out of play. I want to look for structural members that are not going to react, such as this here. It's like a subframe of the vehicle. And I can also come back over, be careful with the exhaust and this thin metal that can fray our line. I can wrap this member here as well that structural is not going to move and use that. So all I'm doing here is I'm feeding my tail end through one end and out of another, okay? So I'm giving myself enough line to be able to get over on this side and feed my rope through. Okay. So you want to have a good amount of tail on your right hand. And how to construct this here is, so now we have basically formed a triangle. I have the open end of the triangle on my right hand and the beginning of the triangle on my left hand. So what I'm going to do is with my hand facing, or my palm facing the vehicle and my watch facing up, I'm going to grab the rope as if I'm coming from the outside. All right, so now I have one rope in my hand. I'm going to go and grab that rope that's running across the vehicle with my left hand, okay? So left hand here, grab the rope, bring it back, okay? This is why we have a longer tail. So now essentially I have two ropes in my left hand. Now what I want to do is I want to rotate my hand away from me or to my left of orientation. So rotate out like that. So now my palm is facing up, my watch face is down. And as you can see, like I said, right hand has my tail, left hand has my running or supply side, and the running supply line is running on top right now. So we're going to go ahead and feed this through our bite that we made and form another bite that's floating in the air right now. And now what we're going to do is we're going to feed our tail end through this bite here. And so now we've completed that step. Next is something that a lot of people get confused on. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to let go of this bite in the center, and with my pinky I will transition into grabbing my running end, and my right hand at the same time will move forward and over to assist the bowline and for it to snap into place, okay? So I'm gonna do that here. I'm gonna try to do it slow as I can so you can see. So like I said, fingers come out of the bite. My pinky is now going to go underneath and grab my running end. My right hand's going to go forward and I'm gonna pull back with my left. Okay? So as you can see here, we formed a bowline knot. What we're looking for is this part of the bowline. You want it to sit on the outside, sorry. So as long as it sits on the outside, inside of this bowline, you can move this knot anywhere on this system. And so that aids us in making sure that we can move this wherever our actual anchor system is going to be, or where we're going to place this tieback on. We can utilize that on this rope. So my tieback anchor system looks like it's going to be midline or middle of where I'm working. So I'm perfectly fine leaving this knot in the middle of the vehicle. What I want to do now is I want to go ahead and place a safety knot on my tail end here. So I'm just going to do an overhand knot, securing that into place. And now I can take this rope and feed it around my tieback system or my picket system. So just like that, that is fine. So before we get too far, we want to place a knot in the center. The knot we're going to use here is going to be a butterfly knot. There's many ways on how to construct this. Everyone does it their own way. I like to do it a certain way as well. So I essentially have the rope running across my hand behind my thumb. I grab with my left hand, grab the rope, I spin and make a bite, and that my thumb can go through. I'm going to rotate my hand again. I want to make another spin here. So now I have a bigger loop here and a smaller loop here where my thumb is. I have my two fingers in the middle holding the big bite end. And now what I want to do is I want to bring this over to my thumb underneath and place it where my thumb is currently at. So grab, rotate, place it where my thumb was. Bring this loop out, and now you've constructed a butterfly knot. The biggest thing here as well is making sure that our butterfly bite or knot end is actually big enough to feed double the rope, essentially, because now we're going to go around our anchor system and feed two lines through here to allow us to create tension back onto the anchor system. So butterfly is in place. We've already gone around our anchor system. Going to go ahead and grab the rope. So I have essentially what you can call the tieback system on my right side and the supply line on my left. So I'm just grabbing some rope from my supply. I'm going to feed it through this bite. And this is where you want to have essentially enough rope to be able to give yourself 3 knots, right? So this is where the tension on the system is created. You start to pull back until you see that the struts themselves are taking the load. You're not wanting to move the vehicle too much towards you, but we're just wanting to place this into the struts. So here, I'm not getting any more gain out of it, so I want to lock this down. I'm just going to go ahead and place an overhand knot. So I got one there, place another one. Another one there. And now I can place another one. So now I've placed 3 knots. We've done our butterfly, our bowline, and so now we're constructed for a Spanish bowline tieback, essentially. So next I'm going to show you how to do this Spanish bowline, but instead of doing this tieback or trucker's hitch essentially here, we're going to utilize a prusik knot. So now we're going to go over how to construct a tieback utilizing a prusik for our Spanish bowline here to put it back to our anchor system or our picket system here. So our Spanish bowline has already been made. Basically what I want to do is grab this supply end of the rope. I can lay it on my knee here. What I want to do is I basically want to triple wrap a prusik around the rope. So there's 1, 2, 3. All right, we're going to dress up our prusik. All right. So I can place this over my anchor system. And what I'm going to do essentially is I will pull and feed the rope through my prusik. Sending my prusik forward and pulling the rope back. I'm putting a load onto this here, which is now pulling this back. And that's how we do it with just a prusik knot.